Welcome back to First Gen Grind, the podcast dedicated to first generation individuals as they navigate the intersection of cultures, personal growth, and success. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you've been with us since episode 1, I'm so glad that you're here. This podcast is about sharing stories, practical advice, and valuable insights for anyone who's on that first gen journey. Today's episode covers a topic that many of us experience but don't have the words to describe. We're talking about the migrant freeze, a concept that deeply impacts not just families who migrate but their first-gen children as well. So what exactly is the migrant freeze? To put it simply, it's a phenomenon where people migrate to a new country, but hold on tightly to the snapshot of life and culture from the time that they left their homeland. It's as if their memories and their perceptions get frozen in time. They remember their country from the period they left, and they cling on to those values, that way of life, and the tradition of a place that for them hasn't changed. Yet while holding on to that frozen image, their homeland is evolving, and so is the land around them. The culture, the people, and the lifestyle back home continue to modernize and adapt, but many who've left at a certain period of time are stuck in that moment when they did migrate. The freeze aspect of this becomes evident years later. While they've been living in their new country, they're still operating on the values, beliefs, and customs of their past. But the place they once knew has moved forward, and in many ways so has the world around them. They often mistake a snapshot in time to their culture. However, they remain frozen in their ways, unable to fully integrate into the new environment as well. As a first-gen individual, this can be incredibly tough to navigate because we're not only learning how to blend two cultures, but we're also dealing with an older generation who are clinging to a version of their life that they left behind. Their values, their expectations, and the ways of thinking often feel stuck in the past, and that can create friction and confusion for us as we try to move forward in the present. Now, here's where the tension comes in for us. We're trying to navigate a world that's very different from the one that our parents knew when they left. We're growing up in a new country exposed to new ways of thinking, new opportunities, and a rapidly changing society. Yet at home, we're often trying to find a balance with the mindset of a bygone era. This migrant freeze can create real challenges for us, cultural misalignment being one of them. So our family's views on career, relationships, and even our social norms may feel outdated compared to what we're experiencing in the modern world, leading to misunderstandings and conflicts as we try to embrace new opportunities and ways of thinking. There's a pressure to conform. Many first-gen individuals feel the pressure to meet their family's expectations, which are often rooted in the values of the past. Whether it's about education, career choice, or family life, we're sometimes asked to live up to standards that no longer make sense in the context of our current environment. It's important to remember that our parents' migrant freeze isn't something that they chose. It's often a response to the trauma of leaving everything behind, or a way to maintain the identity in a world that feels so unfamiliar. Holding on to the past gives them a sense of comfort and stability in a sometimes confusing place. Imagine the sacrifices they had done to offer these opportunities to us, and the struggles they continue to face in a place that they still struggle to find complete comfort in. Dude, cue the emotions. But for us, the first-gen children, this freeze can feel like we're constantly navigating two worlds. One that's modern and ever-changing, and one that's stuck in the past but comfortable. It can be frustrating, it can create barriers, and it can even lead to moments where we feel like we're not fully understood nor supported. I'm sure you can relate. So how do we navigate this? How do we respect where our parents are coming from while also finding a way to grow and thrive in a world that's very different from the one that they know? Here are a few strategies that can help. Start by starting the conversation. Begin by acknowledging the freeze. Have open, respectful conversations with your family about the changes in their homeland and the realities of the present. Share your own experiences and help them see how the world, both here and back home, has evolved. This may take time, or rather it will take time, but it's a step towards bridging that gap between their mindset and yours. Do it in a way where it doesn't sound like a me versus you topic, but rather, hey, I have the same values that you raised me on, but I just want to be able to live my best life, leveraging the opportunities of the new world. Look at everybody around me. I want to be at that level, and have you be supportive of that. Your next focus is to move into finding a balance with respect and growth. It's important to honor the values your family has instilled in you, but it's also important to know when to forge your own path. Find a way to balance respect for traditions with your own need to adapt and grow in this environment. This one is a bit vague, but it has to be handled case by case. Each decision you make is dependent on so many factors. I break my head on each decision trying to see how I can balance the expectations of those I care about while thriving on my own journey to fulfill my own needs. Next, you have to educate and expose. Sometimes our families simply haven't been exposed to new ideas and perspectives. Share books, movies, or even articles that show how their home country has changed. This can bring a sense of comfort in knowing that their home is changing and it's okay for them to do the same. It doesn't actually distance them from who they truly are. Like, this can help them see that the world they remember isn't entirely the same, and that adapting doesn't mean that they are abandoning their roots, it's embracing progress. I tend to share stories of the difficulties and hardships that I face in my life to my family. I share with them why something is difficult in my life, why traditional ways of thinking are holding me back sometimes and causing these difficulties. And even more importantly, I share with them when traditional ways of thinking have saved me from hardships. And this has really proven successful in merging my two identities over the years. Finally, create your own identity. As first-gen individuals, we often feel like we're straddling two worlds. But remember, you have the power to create your own identity, a blend of the best parts of both cultures. Take the values that serve you, leave behind the ones that don't. It's your journey, and you get to decide how you want to navigate it. And you get to live it every day, so make sure it meets your needs mostly. One additional point. It does get easier the more you communicate. It does get easier the more stories you share with one another. And it does get easier the older you get. Just remember that it's their first time living too. Don't make it a me versus you conversation, but rather a hey, help me out with this one. I respect you and would love to share some struggles I'm facing if you can hear me out. Now, some closing thoughts. The migrant freeze is a tough reality for many of us. Our parents left their homes with a set of memories, values, and beliefs that gave them comfort in a new world. But as the world continues to evolve, we have the challenge and the opportunity of navigating that freeze with compassion, respect, and a desire to move forward. So as you continue your first-gen journey, remember that it's okay to break free from outdated ways of thinking. It's okay to grow, to adapt, and to create a life that honors your heritage while embracing the opportunities of today. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of First Gen Grind. I hope this conversation about the migrant freeze has resonated with you and given you some insight on how to navigate this unique challenge. If you got a story to share, or if there's a topic you'd like me to explore in future episodes, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep moving forward, keep embracing your journey, and remember you have the power to create the life that you want. Nandri Vanakkam.